Hey everyone, how are you on today? So many things does not seem to shock me or amaze me anymore. And when you start to see these things, I know that we can't become numb to certain issues because we have to continue the fight, right? But some things really are shocking, and some things are, you know, people get amazed by, are, upset, disturbed by, and even get emotionally uh, emotionally, harmed and mentally harmed by the things that we are witnessing, we are seeing and experiencing. But I want to bring you this story because it touches home so much. Being in the military myself at one time and having family members serve in the military and still serving currently, retired military, as well, and even family members that have served and now have went on to glory that were in good standing. And so, when I look at this about this U.S. soldier, and I'm reading this article, and I'm going, we understand, and a lot of us know that a lot of times people enlist in the service for various reasons. We do know that. Sometimes it's to get a better lifestyle, or to change your bad behaviors, or you were going through some stuff, or you wasn't really living your life, you was just existing, and the military gave you something to be able to have a purpose. And especially if you are able to go to school, you become a specialist, especially in the Army. And we're speaking of a U.S. soldier that actually was in the Army. And they are specialists when they go to school and complete schooling. They're ranked, they're listed as a specialist under what their schooling was, their what they went to school for, the MOS as we call it. And so when I was going over this, and it says right here, a U.S. soldier kicked out of Army after FBI says he enlisted to become better at killing, unalive, killing, I'm going to use the word killing as they did, black people. Now, that's what this is saying. So let's get into this. I'm just going to list a few bullet points, but I'm going to give you the whole story here. I like to put a few bullet points out here, but the whole basic thing is that uh, they claim he listed in the service to become better at, Kaying black people. So they kicked him out of the Army following an FBI investigation that uncovered ties to WS, white supremacist organizations, and Nazi ideology. So it's almost like you really can't almost disguise what it is, because people need to really know the truth. And so, you know, to know the truth about what's really going on with certain individuals when they report these stories. And I'm going to say allegedly, because again, people have to go through their due process, and probably some information may come out more, or maybe that was just fabricated, or it wasn't actually the truth. So a lot of stuff has to come out when the evidence of discovery and things like that. So people are presumed innocent until found guilty, proven guilty, right? But in this situation here, in this this situation with this Mr. Killian Ryan, he was arrested on August 26th and charged with one count of knowingly making a false statement on his application for a secret security clearance, or according to court records. So he applied for a secret security clearance, and I believe his application was submitted in May of 2020. And then there was some things on there that just wasn't right, because when you get a security clearance, before they issue it, there's things they have to do an extensive background check on you to make sure that you can pass it, to make sure you can pass that security clearance background check. So he was not able to do that. So he made a false statement, on his application. He was discharged the same day for serious misconduct. Serious misconduct. And that is misconduct, to lie on an application where you are requesting or applying for secret security clearance. That's a big violation, a very, very big violation that causes alarm for not only lower level, but higher level. I mean, all the way up. So the FBI got involved in this. And so the prosecutors say Ryan operated. He had these social media accounts with contact with extremists. He had these social media accounts, and he made the shocking claim that is why he joined the military, as I stated before, right? Why he joined the military. And you know, people need to really watch what they do on social media, what you type, what you say, because it can be used against you. And people are still failing to realize that nothing you put out here is sacred, even if you have you know, under disguise of different acronyms and names, even if you're using abbreviations and things like that, they can still find your social media information, and they can have it pulled. With the technology that's out here, you can delete things, but they can still have those things pulled back up because they're in a database. And once you put it out there of what you're doing, and especially illegal things, or being an extremist, you know, an extremist or extremist, however you want to pronounce it, these things can come back to bite you and to haunt you. And I always say that when you're digging a hole for someone else, that same hole you can fall in it yourself, the one you dig for other people. And when you're out here to harm other folks, don't forget that God loves you just as much as he loves your enemies. And so if you feel that black people are your enemy, guess what? God loves us the same. He doesn't love us any less. And I keep telling folks that, and God will make your enemy your footstool. So in this case, it seems to me that Mr. Ryan is going to be somebody's footstool. They're not playing those games. You joined the military, and you're in there doing, see, there used to be a lot going on, which still is when I was in there, and the racism and things like that, you know, that you can endure and suffer through. But at the end of the day, we have got to protect each and every one, and for the ones that are doing wrong, they need to be exposed. So this young man, or I'm not sure how old he is at this point, but he was exposed. And he was exposed because he put himself out there to be exposed on using social media accounts. He told folks that that's the reason he joined the military, not because he wanted to protect his country, not because he wanted to be noble and serve his country and protect the borders like most of us that have served. No, he served his country. He entered the military because he basically said he had one purpose in mind. One purpose, and that was to learn how to become better at killing black people. And so I have no empathy for him, but may God have mercy on you, Ryan Killian. So let's get back into this article here, and it says that you know, see, and nothing really shocks me anymore, but this was a shocking claim because most people go in and they might learn some behaviors, or they might start dealing with some folks that align with what they believe in and their values. But the shocking claim is that was the reason he joined, not again because of, you know, to protect my country, to do noble things, to learn a field or a job or a technical job, you know, to be better, to learn leadership skills, you know, to get a schooling because I chose not to go into a military. I mean, to go to college. I can go to in the military, earn my, you know, my GI Bill, you know, to get my education. None of that. You know, the things that we look at when we join the military, most of us, or when you look at other people, family members that have joined, no, you join because you know, you want to have a family, or you have a family and you feel that it could be better benefits, better resources for them. You know, you can provide better for your family. You know, the military offers housing, you know, and things like that. And you know, you can shop on the base at the military commissary, and you can get good deals and things like that. You know, there's a lot of benefits that are good benefits when joining the military, but you do give up a lot, but there are benefits. So at the end of the day, this man, I'll say man, he joined based on that's all he wanted to do. He didn't want to do nothing else. But you know, when you're in there, you're going to learn other stuff because you have jobs to do, right? But this is what they're saying that he did, and that's why it's so shocking. Okay, so He was serving as a fire support specialist and held the rank of specialist when he was discharged, Kelly said. A fire support specialist gathers intelligence and enemy target positions. Enemy target positions. So he was learning how to make his enemies become targets. When, and this is probably, and I'm going to say allegedly, but in my opinion, maybe this is what he was doing, learning this. So when he got out of the service, he would be able to make black people his target. And so he was learning how to make black people his target. Now, that's not what you're supposed to do in the military, but I'm sure this is, part of it. And that just piqued me when I looked at this and said that he gathered intelligence, but enemy target positions, enemy target positions. Now, he was supposed to help the Army in deploying and firing artillery, but this part right here, enemy target positions, that would be something that if he joined for that reason, as they said, allegedly that they said he joined for, then he would get out and he would be making, black people his target. And we've seen that before, where that young man, what was his name, that shot up that church, they were a target. The one that went and shot up that grocery store in New York, what city was that? I can't think of it right now. You all help me out in the comments. He shot up that store, that man. And so when we look at people making targets, but he was going to target a specific group according to his social media accounts. And so the job required a secret security clearance. Absolutely, it required that. And so he served with the 2nd Battalion, 319th Airborne Field Artillery, and the 1st Battalion, 325th Airborne Infantry Regiment. He had not deployed. The former, and he was a paratrooper. Paratrooper was discharged for multiple driving under the influence of alcohol violations, according to a defense official. But prosecutors say they found far more serious issues during their investigation. So you can actually, get in trouble in the military for, a DUI or DWI, whatever state you're in, depending on what state uses the term DWI or DUI, when you're driving under the influence of alcohol violations. And he had multiple ones, so he probably shouldn't even been a paratrooper with multiple driving violations, okay? But they uncovered far more serious issues during the investigation. So on his application for a secret security clearance in May of 2020, he alleged that it had been more than 10 years since he'd been in contact with his father, who has felony convictions for drug violations and auto theft. So you really can't be around someone that has felony convictions when you are applying for a secret security clearance. So he failed to realize that his focus was to make black people his target so he can kill them, become better at killing black people, unaliving the K word, black people. But yet and still, he didn't realize that he couldn't be around, people that had felonies when you're applying for a security clearance. But you know what? He probably, somewhere he might have knew, or he did know, but he tried to get away with it. And he tried to outsmart some officials, military officials, and he could not, because he tried to hide his information. He tried to hide it, and he thought he was going to get away with it, and it came out, and I'll get to that he was found out that he had been in contact and even numerous accounts. So the investigators found a number of social media accounts, all allegedly registered to Ryan, which were used to contact his father during the 10-year period. 10-year period. He was doing that during the 10-year period. He was contacting him, even though he said he had not. So do you think he already knew better? Or he just thought he wouldn't get caught? Because it sounds to me that by him lying on the application and then being in contact, he knew better. Because if he hadn't been in contact, there would have been no need to lie on the application. Am I correct or not? Okay. So anyway, moving forward, all allegedly registered to him. Let's see. They also found recent photos of Ryan with his father. You don't say. Court records say that he had recent photos hanging out. Recent photos, okay? So when investigators further probed the accounts, they noted that one of Ryan's accounts had been in contact with numerous accounts associated with racially motivated extremism. Court record said. Now, the account username referenced Sigurd, a figure in Norse mythology, which is sometimes co-opted by white supremacists, and email registered to the account referenced Nazi ideology. So on another account, Ryan allegedly posted, I serve for combat. Now, not I served. He's saying I serve for combat experience, so I'm more proficient in killing in, the N word. You know, in with plural though. Okay. And investigators found that Ryan registered some of these social media accounts with an email that included Nazi Ace 1488. Nazi Ace, Naziace 1488, Nazi Ace, meaning that he is an ace of Nazi, okay? He's an ace of the Nazi, you know, Nazi Ace. And so CNN has reached out to Ryan's attorney for comments. Well, I don't think his attorney really want to comment at this time, right? I wouldn't. I really wouldn't want to comment at this time. I definitely wouldn't want to do that. But anyway, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin made rooting out extremism in the military one of his top priorities. Though the Pentagon insisted that extremism in the military was only a tiny fraction of service members, officials acknowledged that the January 6, 2021 Capitol riot was a wake-up call, for the Defense Department. Excuse me for a moment. Let me get a drink of water. Now, at least 95 people charged in connection with the January 6th insurrection served in the U.S. military. So if you had been following the insurrection of January 6th, there was a lot of former military people that had prior military service. And so when you go back, if you served in the military during a certain time, and a lot of people in the military, and I'm not saying all, but there were many that were actually just like that. They were very, racist, and they didn't want to train you if you were black, and they blatantly was discriminated against you right out in the open, and really nothing was done about them at that time. Nothing was done. Even if you complained and went higher, they looked at you and wanted to, punish you for speaking out. I'm keeping it real, people. And so when I read this article, I pray for each and every military person that went in the service for a positive purpose. Not somebody like a Killian Ryan or other people that, on this, the January 6th insurrection. But there's a lot more people that served in the military that, that we've seen articles on, and we have not seen articles on. How many out here that still believe that they are superior over other races and that they're willing to make black people their target? And we've seen that. So this is not something that I'm just speaking about or just trying to get people in a traumatic state of mind, or to get people, in an uproar. I mean, it is what it is. And because it is public record, I'm going to speak on it from my First Amendment rights, and I'm disgusted at this. And I pray that all military personnel that went in for a positive purpose, you're doing your purpose, you're living out that positive purpose, and you're gaining insight, and you're learning things about yourself and what you can do better when you get out of the military, or you can stay in there and retire and get your bag at the end, and then, if you're young enough to still work when you get out of the military, that's important. But to turn around and do this and to think that you wasn't going to get caught, you're going to get caught. Because especially when you're applying for a secret security clearance, not just a security clearance, because there's different levels, but a secret security clearance. So anyway, shortly after taking office, Austin ordered a staggered pause in operations throughout the force, known in the military as a stand down. And I do remember the stand down because like I said, I know people and I family member. And so it was a stand down going on in order to reinforce leaders' expectations of behavior for service members and review the Defense Department policy on extremism. And so there was a stand down at one time, and they did. They were reinforcing leaders' expectations. And I think if you remember too, after the what was the Fort Hood situation, with those military officials over there on that base. Man, oh man. But anyway, late last year, the Pentagon then issued a sharper, clearer definition of extremist behavior that for the first time including guidance on social media platforms and posts. So they have trained them to have some guidance on these social media platforms and posts. So you in the military have to be very careful what you are posting and what you are putting out there, because you are not supposed to be inciting extremism and rioting and violence upon your people that you're supposed to protect. And and so for you to be on these posts saying that you're serving in the military, and you're up here wanting to cite riot and saying you went in the service to learn how to be better at violence towards a certain particular group. Because the article doesn't say that it was up, that he just wanted to learn how to, cite violence on just anybody, or people that didn't, go along with his views, because there are, people that if you don't go along with their views, it doesn't matter what race you are, they're gonna, harm you. But he targeted and specified a particular group. So just wanted to get this information out to you. Again, don't forget to thumbs up the video, and share this video, and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber. Don't forget to support the channel if you choose to do so, but thumbsing up that video is what I like to see. And then because this is we say shocking, it can be shocking, but it's like it's so much stuff going on that some things is just hard to be shocked at. But when I read this, I was like, wow. Now and then just from some of the comments, I like to read some of the comments under these articles. And like I was saying, just how many have not been caught. So one of the comments said, just imagine how many of them that slide through without admitting their real intentions and are in society in positions of power. That's a pretty profound statement there. And these are the ones sabotaging our police force and the system. They have been using these formats to infiltrate and carry out their agenda. But the part up there where it says that how many have slid through, yeah, that's pretty profound. That's good. That's good to say that, because it's true. How many have slid through and they haven't got caught? And he's not the only one though, because then they get out of the military and they apply to these jobs, to these police departments, right? And they are being hired. So he's not the only one. And I figured if he hadn't got caught, he might have been able to get out of the service and apply to the military, to the police department, right? Precinct. And then guess what? Now he becomes one of those type of soldiers, right? Because that's what he said he was learning. That's the only reason why, that's the only reason why he joined. So he wanted to be better at unaligning black people, aliving black people, right? The big K word. And so he would have gotten out, probably applied for a job at a police precinct, right? And he probably would have got away with, with that type of mentality, that type of spirit, because that's an evil and wicked spirit. And he would have gotten away with that. But you know what? Thankfully and fortunately, Mr. Ryan, you was not smart enough to keep your mouth shut. You ran your mouth, you put it on a social media platform, and we are thankful that the FBI and the military did their job. And you need to be incarcerated. You do need to be that, because you are a danger to society. You are definitely a danger to society with your bigotry, with your racism, your extremism. You are a danger to society. And you don't need to be in the service. You definitely don't need to be in the service. And there's a lot of good people that have served in the military, and there are some people that have served that probably have to think about their behavior and what they did to other people while they were in there. And I wonder how that's going. For those people that I served with that were like that just was, that were, I would say, that were racist and, they were just mean-hearted and mean-spirited. And I don't understand how you can go into service and knowing that you have to be around other people of other nationalities, you know, but they do it. So that's not a real smart move to be going into service knowing you have to be around other people that don't look like you, that don't act like you, that have come from different environments from you, uh, that are just trying to do what's right by themselves, and here you come, or right by their families, and then it's someone right over here in this corner that might have to share a barracks room with you before you become of a certain rank where you no longer can live in the barracks. But let me tell you something. There are people that live next to you. Matter of fact, when I was in the service, it was this female, and she was something else, man. And she would step up on my bunk, and her boots, combat boots, and she wanted to fight all the time. And I won't mention her name, but I remember her name to this day. And we got into a big verbal altercation because I was like, stop doing that. You know, stop stepping on my bunk with your nasty boots. Take them off, or use the appropriate rail to get up without stepping on my bunk, because she was at the top bunk and I was at the lower, and she wanted to fight all the time. She was just this bully, and I'm like, I'm not going to fight you, but if I have to, then yes, I will protect myself. But she was something else. And finally, I just said, you know what? I'm not here for all of this. And I moved my rack to get away from her, because she was one of those people. And she just didn't respect, you know, have no respect. She had some issues. That's what I'm going to say. Some issues that didn't have to do with me, but she displayed those microaggressions and things like that on me. And I did not care for that. And so instead of me having to always defend myself and be angry, you know, when I would see her and I would see that she stepped on, I would have dirt all on my rack, you know, where you could see where the edge where she had stepped on it, just all type of foolishness. You know, there's just people that have a lack of respect when you have to share, you know, share quarters with other people. And it's just not men. Females can be dangerous too. Females can be bullies. Females can start fights. Females can instigate fights and gossip. I served with them right in the same quarters until I moved off base. You know, got me a roommate, moved off base, and just started to be a better, happy person, because I'm not an unhappy person. And so when people push you like that, you can start to consume me, and especially when the higher ranks are not doing anything about it. But there was some actual higher ranks, you know, that were there that interfered and told her to stop, but she just wasn't gonna stop. So I just moved. I moved my bunk, and I was good. You know what I'm saying? After that, I didn't really have to see her anymore. I didn't have to walk around. I saw her on our ship, but I didn't have to live by her, sleep by her, because you never know. She might have came home and tried to kill me in my sleep, you know? And I'm like, I'm just saying. So at the end of the day, there are people like that. And it's women and men. So we can't just say men, but he got caught. But I wonder how many females in the military that are behaving like that or feel that way. Because some of them do feel that way. We just, you know, I've seen it. I've encountered it just out, you know, in the communities, in the environment, in stores where they want to attack you, and you just going on minding your own business, living your life, doing your little shopping, and they want to come at you the wrong way, you know, and want to start fights with you, and want to battle with you, want to call you out your name, and you're looking at them like, really? And I think I shared it where about a month or so ago, this lady did that to me. And I just said, well, and she kept talking, saying all type of stuff. And I didn't get into a back and forth with her. But finally, I did say to her, so what you want to do? Because she was doing a lot of talking. And I was like, so what you want to do? But then we see she didn't do nothing. She got mad and left. And she made some little comment as she left. But you know what? That's a non-factor to me. You're a non-factor because you're not going to do nothing. But you did all that talking. I guess you were trying to push my buttons by calling me, you know, the B word and saying those things. Well, you know what? I know who I am, and I know that that's not on my birth certificate, and I don't answer to that. That's why I didn't get into a back and forth with her, because I don't answer to the word you just called me. I don't answer to that, because I'm not that, and I don't answer to it. So why get into an argument with somebody that I know what my parents named me? I know what my name is. I know who I am. I know what my birth certificate stands for. I know the contribution I have given to my society and my country, and so guess what? I didn't answer to that. I don't answer to those type of words. So at the end of the day, now if you want to do something, let's do it. But at the end of the day, those little names you calling, please, I don't answer to that. And that's how I looked at it. I mean, like, because you're ignorant. And why should I show myself and show my level of ignorance, because we can all go there. I'm not saying we can't. We can all go there. But why should I do that? And look, why? For what reason? And then you admitted that you worked in that particular restaurant, not that one, but you worked for that name of that restaurant, which I won't mention, but she just said that. So I'm looking at her going, really? You at your age still do that? When you should have probably, let me just stop, because I was like, really? I mean, as a teenager, yeah, we worked, a lot of us got our job experience and learning how to count money manually, not with this technology and the new registers where people just put in the amount you give them and then they just give you your change in your hand. They don't count it. But see, when I grew up, in the era I grew up in, I had to learn how to count money. It was manually. We had manual registers, and you had to learn how to count money backwards. You know what I'm saying? They gave you a 20 and and it was like, what, $14.20. You had to count that money back, right? And not only that, you put it in the person's hand, you thanked them, but you counted the money back and thanked them for it. That's the type of customer service that we were built on and grew up in. If you grew up in the era that I grew up in, now you don't see that anymore. You have people putting money in your hand, and if you give them change after they punched it in, they don't know how much change to give you. I experienced that too, where this guy was trying to give me a quarter when they really owed me 75 cents. And I'm like, they owed me actually 77 cents. And I had to talk to them about it. I said, let me show you something. Since you don't believe me, let me get my phone out with my calculator. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we got to really try to speak out and teach people. But a lot of people don't want to hear videos, that talk about how to do better and how to learn and how to do better. A lot of people are so programmed by what society standards are and what society is telling you versus what your parents is trying to teach you and your grandparents is trying to teach you. A lot of young people don't want to hear it. They want to go with the standards of society. And I had a lady one day, this was a few years ago, she was mad because the cashier did not know how to give me my money back, and she told me I have to wait till my supervisor come over here to give you your change back. I said, lady, I am on my lunch and I just do not have that type of time. And then the supervisor comes over to tell me, well, you know what, it's all right. And I said, no, yeah. I said, look, when your registers break down, who is here to give correct change back if they don't know how to count when the register break down? So you guys are just stuck, and you're stuck, and you can't process orders, and you can't take in money. It's just crazy how our society has gotten. And this is because all of technology, and technology is good. It is. It's really good, but this is what we're dealing with. This is what we're dealing with, and we got to be swift on our feet. So if our order is $16.20, make sure you give them $16.20 or $16, because if you give it to the quarter, if you give them the change afterwards, after they've already punched it in, you're gonna have some problems. You're gonna have some problems because they're so programmed to go along with what they punch in at that time. And they say, well, my register could be off. How could your register be off when you take the receipts and compare them to what's in the till or the register? They were till, drawer, register. How can your register be off? But that's what they say these days. So, okay. All right then. But anyway, again, thank you again for, like I said, I got off track because I was just, but anyway, thank you all for joining in. Have a beautiful day. And, don't forget, the copyright disclaimer and all of that, on the 1976 Act, and fair use and all of that good stuff. Okay, bye.